Welcome back to Sports Rap Live, everybody. We are here at Junction Bar and Grill, 160 West Gray, in the shadow of downtown Houston, and the lounge is starting to fill up. Starting to see some of the Rap Pack fall in here. Of course, Ralph G, the Bad Rap King, Tanner and Company, and Act Bad is in the building. Of course, we are joined here at the table by Bun Beatha, whatever you want him to be. He is always here for us to give us the insight on
the king of Trill.
Of course, the king of Trill.
Absolutely.
Man, no question.
Jay Billis and then some.
Yeah. Hey, I'll tell you what, Bun. We're going to get into the Martinez Report here in a second, but we're also going to go out to New Orleans for the Final Four this year, and we'll be out there for our Sunday night broadcast. Looking forward to that. Maybe Mr. Jay Billis, at that point, he'll have no choice but to have you on the ESPN set to talk about some of the Final Four action.
Well, let's have him on the Sports Rap Live set. You know what I'm saying?
You did that in reverse.
Well, that's why he's the executive producer. You see,
he was like, turn that around the other way.
Thank you very much.
We got to get up there, set up shop, and bring him over to our table.
Yo, Billis, over here.
Because he's going to have to be on this side to have the real conversation about what Trill's about.
Setting it up.
Very true.
So,
very true.
But we'll start that petition in a minute.
That's right. That's right. You see what the VY petition got us, man? Got us some talk.
Well, we're talking about what people really want to talk about.
We do, and that's not just sports. That's sounds. That's sneakers. That's stilettos. It's whatever you want it to be, man. It don't matter. But right now, Andrew Martinez is here to talk about what he's looking at in the Martinez Report, and of course, it is brought to you each and every week by.
Well, we could have a new sponsor.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Whoa.
We could have Raddick and Associates.
Hey.
My good friend Jeremy Raddick, my employer, my friend. I don't work for him. I work with him.
Of course.
As Jeremy would tell you. So we're trying to see if we can get him on. He's been talking about wanting to get on with the Martinez Report and some other ads. So we'll see about it.
Very good. But right now, let's get into the full court press, Andrew. Of course, we gave you some of our big conference locks last week. And right now we're going to move into some of the mid-major locks.
Do you want to talk about Duke, North Carolina, or you want to get into the mid-major stuff?
Let's get right into Duke, North Carolina.
Okay.
Yeah.
Duke, North Carolina was an insane game last night. It was played at Chapel Hill. It was a crazy game, mostly because when I started watching it, I picked it up probably midway through the first half, and I thought, Duke was making so many threes, I didn't know if they could carry it on. And that's kind of indicative of most any Duke team is if they're making their threes, they're going to beat you. I was impressed with their defense, mostly because they were able to keep North Carolina sort of at the end of the game. They made a big defensive push to keep the game, the score close, because this Duke team is one of probably the worst defensive teams that Coach K has had in the past, which is totally not indicative of his coaching style. But it was impressive to watch them make the stops at the end to get the game back within reach.
Exactly.
And we have to talk about Austin Rivers. He said before the game that his goal was to make an impact on that game, and he made probably the biggest impact any freshman has ever had on this series. Bun, what did you think about that when you were watching last night?
I mean, we've been talking about this kid. I mean, off the air, I've been talking to people about this kid. Of course, he comes from incredible pedigree, to say the least. And, I mean, if you watched that game last night, I think you saw a little bit of Doc in that game yesterday. This kid's got heart. He's also got discipline. He's arguably the best, freshman talent playing right now in NCAA basketball, being coached by arguably the best coach that we have.
The winningest coach.
You know what I'm saying? The winningest coach. So obviously, the argument stands that he's could be the best college basketball coach, if not the best basketball coach, period, on the planet, coaching this kid. And if this is how good he's going to be as a freshman, I mean, my goodness. Obviously, Doc's going to make him stay all 4 years. There's not going to be any rush for him to go into the league, you know what I'm saying? And this kid's only going to get better. I mean, it's just really incredible to watch him just evolve right now.
Now, some of the rap or some of the knock on Rivers, young Austin Rivers, coming into this season was he was a little headstrong. He was a little confident. Likes to go ISO a little bit, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, some would say cocky.
Sure, absolutely. He did say before this season started that, he couldn't wait to get to the NBA so that he could take it to LeBron. He raised some eyebrows with comments like that, and you got to appreciate the man's swagger, as the kids say.
His hunger.
His hunger, yeah. and I'm curious to see how long he does stay at Duke.
Well, it's impressive. 29 points in your first ever Duke North Carolina game as a freshman. I mean, I'm not sure if I've heard any freshman
That's
ever.
the highest scoring ever against North Carolina.
And he also had 5 rebounds, 2 assists. My doubt was never with him. My doubt was only about his teammates, as if they were going to, because really right now Stephen Curry is a point guard. He's not a real point guard. They really don't have a lot of good post presence. I mean, they have Ryan Kelly, who made some threes. You know, they have Mason Plumlee. They have the Plumlee kids. But it was really impressive to see him take over that game, and at the end, everyone knew he was going to take that shot. It was just if he was going to make it, because he dribbled out the clock to pretty much say it's on me, and to be able to not only take that on, but to succeed, it speaks to his preparation and it speaks to his talent level as well.
And his confidence as well. Because keep in mind, again, this is a freshman, you know what I'm saying, making the call on the floor that I'm going to take this shot. Coach K is absolutely fine with it, and this kid, he nails it. You know what I'm saying? It takes a lot of heart. It takes a lot of gumption. It takes a lot of nerve for a freshman to be able to take that up on himself. And when arguably the biggest game in his collegiate career.
He said it was the best day of his life.
Has to be.
What?
I mean, this is Duke UNC. For him to hit the winning shot in the all-time rivalry, you know what I'm saying, playing it at home. I mean, come on.
Well, in their home.
Yeah, exactly. In their home.
I mean, did you see that crowd?
Dagger.
You saw a big old grin with Rivers.
Yeah.
Oh man, my son.
It was the anti-wave.
It was in the college basketball world. It was onions.
Yeah.
I mean, that was the definition of onions.
No doubt, no doubt. And, you know, it's got to be the greatest day of Doc Rivers' life. You know, winning as a professional coach in the NBA is one thing, but when your son does it in the biggest of moments and he's talked the talk and now he's walking the walk, that makes a dad prouder than anything.
Absolutely. To see his kid, you know, become a man before his eyes, and, you know, to have evolved before him. And obviously, you know, some of it is, you know, hereditary. But I'm sure Doc spent a lot of hours in the, I won't say in the garage, I'm going to say in the backyard or, you know, some pretty nice facilities with this kid. But, I mean, he's obviously put in the time, he's put in the work, and I think we got a lot more big shots to see from this kid as the season goes on. I'm going to be looking real forward to watch different matchups with him as March Madness comes up.
No doubt, and we will have all the March Madness games on Sports Talk 790, starting with Selection Sunday, where we are going to be at another location, and we're going to have some of your favorite daytime hosts from Sports Talk 790 join Sports Rap Live for Selection Sunday, which is an honor. It's an honor for us.
That's big for us.
Because they want to jump on with us and hear some of what Andrew's got to say about some of the teams.
That's a big get, as they say.
Yes, sir.
Very much so, like Jay Billis would be during Final Four weekend for sure. All right, Andrew, well, let's shift gears. Of course, there have been some other rivalry games, but we got to start looking towards the tournament. We got to start looking towards the end of February, heading right into March and into the Madness. And last week we broke down some of the major conference locks, some of the teams that you already think have punched their ticket. They are on their way, and they will make some noise in the tournament. But now, of course, you've had a lot, like last year, you've had Butler, you've had Gonzaga, you've had a lot of mid-major, small conference schools make some noise in the tournament, and we have one right at the top with Murray State, who is still the only undefeated
Well, that was kind
Division
of in
I
jeopardy tonight. It was seriously in jeopardy. They were, update, Tennessee State's winning by 2 at Murray State with about 2:40 left in the second half. This game was close in the first half, and, you know, Murray State kind of pulled ahead, but it seems like Tennessee State's giving them a fight. That would be a really bad loss because Murray State's schedule is one that, you know, they're going to play a lot of games where they have to win them because any loss will look bad because their conference is so weak. They have a big game coming up in the Bracket Busters, but this is a game they must win. I mean, right now they're ranked 7th, I think. I saw today. That record, I mean, that is going to, if they were undefeated, they can carry that, you know, to be maybe a 5 seed or a 4 seed, but it's really going to take a big hit. They're seeding well if they lose this game tonight.
Especially to Tennessee State.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, well, let's run through some of the other mid-majors, Andrew, you're looking at.
Okay, with the A10, we got, I think that pretty much a lock is Temple, St. Louis as well. Xavier has been kind of in flux. They've lost a couple games they shouldn't have after the big Cincinnati fight. That they've kind of lost their way. I still like 2 Holloway, but I don't know where they're going. Dayton, Massachusetts, and LaSalle, and St. Joe's, they're all kind of in the mix. I think that A10 will probably be a 2, maybe a 3-bid league if Xavier can figure it out. The Mountain West, UNLV and San Diego State, they're pretty much locks. New Mexico, Colorado State, they're sort of in the mix as well. Missouri Valley, I think Creighton is a definite lock. They have McDermott, who I've been touting as one of the players of the year. He'll probably finish second to Thomas Robinson. Wichita State's also played very well. Conference USA, Southern Miss and Memphis have kind of been going back and forth. Memphis has been playing. I'm really disappointed. They're probably one of the most disappointing teams this season. Props to Southern Miss, though, for picking up the slack. The West Coast Conference, you have St. Mary's, who should be in, and Gonzaga. BYU is also in the mix. They haven't fallen off after losing Jimmer. Other ones outside of that, you have Murray State, we just touched on. Harvard, they've been doing their thing in the Ivy League. Long Beach State, they've been holding it down. A couple other teams, Middle Tennessee State. Davidson got a big win at Kansas. At Kansas, that's really impressive.
That is huge.
Oral Roberts, Iona, and Nevada. That's kind of rounds it out for my teams that I think are in the conversation to be tournament teams.
Sure. Now, you mentioned Conference USA. There's a couple teams here in Houston locally that play in Conference USA. Do you have an update on how that game went down?
Well, there was a game last night at Hofheinz. Played, inter-city rivalry between U of H and Rice. And Rice came out ahead, 79-71 at Hofheinz. So, I'm always one to throw U of H under the bus, but they played a great game. It's an impressive win for Rice. It shows that they're kind of, headed in the right direction. I don't think either of these teams is going to be tournament bound, but it's a good win. It's a good win for bragging rights. It's a good win if you're a professor at Rice.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it keeps to me, it keeps a little fire under the rivalry. It's often been one-sided. And I think right now, we're showing that this is going to be interesting as the next couple of years go. As long as I'm a professor.
Speaking about that, March 3rd is going to be maybe the last game between this rivalry, because after this, U of H is going to move to the Big East.
Oh, that's right.
So I don't know how long this rivalry can keep on going, but if this is the last one, Rice could go out with 2 wins, at least one on the U of H's court. So, rivalries, I don't want to see this one go by the wayside. College basketball, there's so many games. There's no reason this rivalry should stop. But, if it does stop, Adam, at least Rice alums can say we got one on theirs.
There you go, on the way out the door.
Exactly.
We went out with a bang.
For sure. All right, well, we're going to go out with a bang to the top of the hour. When we come back, you guys are going to hear the brand new Buku 1 track that he laid down for us. And we'll get right back into the NFL talk with these Texans. Got to see what they're going to do here in the next month and a half as we lead up to the draft. So you guys stick around right here on Sports Talk 790 and iHeartRadio and Sports Rap Live.
It's going down.
Rap.